Hi, it's Jason. Welcome to video 4 of 5 in the Leaders on Tap series. And yes, I have had my hair cut this time and I'm wearing a jumper because it's getting a bit colder. But we are going to talk about L&D today, and the big question for this one is how can you ensure that your L&D strategies are more effective? And this came about from one of the pieces of research in the Leaders on Tap report that said 80% of managers actually felt that they were really aligned with L&D and the efforts that L&D were making on future skills, which is brilliant. But it did beg a question for me, which was how effective are we at measuring our L&D efforts? And this is really important because the amount of time and effort that we put in to training and developing our staff and the amount of money and cost that goes into that and the opportunity that comes from being really good at this and getting our managers and leaders ready for the future, it makes sense that we understand how effective it's been. So that's what we're going to talk about. So first of all, what type of leader do they want to be? Have you ever asked managers this? Their views are going to be from perspectives of previous managers, previous leaders, and where they see themselves in the future. It's really important to understand this because second, you want to understand how that stacks up against what you need them to be. Where's the alignment? Where are the discrepancies? And that needs to be thought through and talked about. And then third, are you sheep dipping all your managers through some sort of a program, trying to create this perfect manager? A coaching approach can be a great way of bespoking some of this because not one size fits all. And lastly, if they're all different, then how can you measure the effectiveness? This question needs to be really understood because one measurement system will not work for everyone. So not by counting things, you can't answer that. That can tell us what we did, but it's not going to tell us how well we did it. So you may see impacts on some of your KPIs, such as retention rates and quality and productivity, but they don't tend to be a direct link. So a better way of really understanding the effectiveness and the impact is for the person to measure their own growth in some way. And this can really be brought about by having a great coach. Something that we use at Get Knowledge is this thing called self-analysis. And you've probably got your own way of doing this. But within that self-analysis, here's 4 things that we like to include that we'll share with you. So the first thing we would look to do is help managers to build their own perception of styles, behaviours and traits. And we do that by creating certain frames and providing certain models for them to go and explore this. And then we'd look for them to build in other people's perceptions, and we'd use 360 feedback generally to do that. It's a great way of bringing that in. And all of those insights that have been captured, we'd look to provide managers with the opportunity to discuss those, and that could be in group settings, it could be in one-to-one settings. And really importantly, the last point is we promote the idea of managers documenting and journaling their journey through this self-awareness and this self-analysis, because what we find is that when people write things down or they capture things, they generally make a contract with themselves. And the learning and the commitment to the learning goes up. So this may be harder to measure if you've got hundreds of managers, but accepting that one measure isn't going to tell you how effective your L&D efforts are across those hundreds of managers is a great place to start. They're all different. Each person's journey is going to be an individual one. If you'd like to learn more about how we do this, get in touch at jason@getknowledge.co.uk.